Hi guys, it's Jamie from Pierson Portal. Today I'm going to show you guys InVideo. I'm going to do a review and a kind of a tutorial. I've been using it for about a month and I thought I should let everybody know what I thought of it. So when you first start with InVideo, you basically have three options. You can start with a blank project over here and just build it from scratch, which I do sometimes. You can use ready-made versatile templates. There's quite a few good ones that you can just make them your own and switch out some images and words to use for yourself. That's a way to get a really quick video produced. And you can convert your script to a video. So I'm going to start with option 1 and then I'll do option 2. We may get into option 3, but mainly I want to show you options 1 and 2, how to use the conversion of a script and how to use the templates. So let's start with the script. So the first thing InVideo will have you do is pick a template that you want your script to use. So I'm just going to pick one here. I will use this one right here called Impactful. If you hold your mouse over any of them, they'll start playing. If you click on them, you can get a preview with sound of the same template, or theme, I should say. So I'm going to click on this one. You get an idea of what the words are going to look like, the animations. You can pick different sizes, so I'm just doing the 16:9, but you could also do a 1:1. It's got a couple different ones that are good for Instagram and Facebook. Pick the one that you want to use. When you go into the script conversion, you have three options here as well. You can enter your script manually right here. You can enter a headline, and then you can enter the text. If you enter the text, every time you put an enter where you have a blank line here, that starts a new scene. So in the example here, you would have 4 scenes created for you with these lines on each one. The other option is to start with an article link, which is really cool. If you find a blog post or an article on the web that you'd like to use, you can just put the link here and it will scrape it for the text. And last, if you don't have any text yet, but you do have some photos or videos that you know you want to use, you can start with those and then add the text. So I'm going to show you how to start with an article link works, but then I'm probably going to come back and do the paste your script because I want to do just a quick one to show you. So first, let's pick the link. I've got a site here, how to create click-worthy YouTube thumbnails. So I'm going to use this link as the link. Then you click next. So it's scraping the article for the text, and it's looking for images as well that it can use in the video. All right, so this is the summarizer. This is what it found on the site. It found a couple images over here, and here's the actual words that it found. And over on the right is each scene that it's going to create. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. If we scroll down, we can see that it's going to create 36 scenes, and this is the text it's going to use. If there's one that you don't want to use, you can just remove it with the buttons over here. And if there's something that it didn't grab, this is the full article on the left over here. But if you look, some of it is, you can click on some of it. And the ones that you can click on are ones that it did not add over here, that it wasn't sure you'd want to add. Sometimes it seems like it's not very helpful info, or sometimes it's got a lot of special characters in it, so it might be for something else. But if you want to use it, just click on it, and it will add it over here in the right place. So there it is right there. So scroll through here first and make sure that what you want to be seen is seen. And if there's something you don't want to be seen, that you press the minus here. If you press the minus, I'll do it on the second one, then you can see that it's clickable over here again to add it back if you want. So I'm going to add it back, and there it goes. So I'm going to scroll through here real quick and just see right here. This is more like a title. If you use a still frame, choose it manually. But I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, let's show that. This one as well. Right here it says it left this one little line out. I'm going to leave that out. We don't need it. This one I like, so I want to add. I'm going to add a lot of these. This one I'm not going to. Resize your image to fit the guidelines. Let's go ahead and use that. We'll use both of them. And then this, have you been using stencils collection feature? If not, it's something that's more like an add of software to use to make the thumbnail. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that out. I don't need it. It's not as helpful for my video. I think I want that one. I want this one. All right. That's good for now. You get the idea. You could go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure what you want is there and what you don't want is there. It does a pretty good job grabbing stuff. So just go ahead and look, and once you're done, you're just going to click Done over here. And that fills in with a space where it needs to. It gives your title. Right here we have auto suggest images. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So it's going to find images for me, but we can replace any of them. So we're going to say next. It says, hey, there's some that are too big for a scene. Do you want us to rearrange it? Yeah, go ahead and do that. So it's going to cut some of these big ones down for us a little bit, and then just go ahead and say next again, and it's going to start building the video. It's been pretty quick. If it was, 100 scenes, it'll take longer than if it's 20, but it's not too bad at all. Alright, so now we're in the editor. This is the storyboard editor. There's actually 2 different editors for InVideo, which I love. But this is the storyboard editor that lets you edit the scenes individually. And then the advanced editor is more of a traditional video editor, which I'll show you as well. So we can see here, it's still building the scenes. It's grabbing pictures for us right now. But here's the title, How to Create Click-Worthy YouTube Thumbnails. Okay, so over here we have a lot of different options. First of all, you can see that we have 51 scenes. You can move this particular scene up or down with these arrows next to it. So if you just need to move a scene around, you can do that. If you want to duplicate or delete a scene, you can do that as well right here. The preview button will let us see what this specific scene looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the preview button so you can see that. So you can see it zooms the image in and then gives us our title. You can see that it's a 6-second scene. It will automatically change this based on the amount of text you have to make sure that it's long enough to read the text and those kind of things. For this one, I'm just going to leave it as it is, and we're going to scroll down to the next scene. If you need to input a scene in between, you can do that. You can say Add Scene. Now, this one has a lot of text, okay? So it might be hard to see it or to read it all at once. So you have a couple different options. You can highlight certain words to make them stand out, but you can also split the text right here on the scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor, I'm going to split it right here. All you have to do is press enter and you can split it, or you could click the split scene button right here, or split text button right here, sorry. But I'm going to press enter and it's going to say, hey, do you want to do that? It'll change this block. I'm going to say yes. And now you can see it's split them up into 2, so it'll show them separately so that people have time to read. The other thing is you can change the type of scene it is. This is a story part scene, but you can make it a headline like we had up above. You can make it a quote, you can make it a question, and you can make it a social media post. So for right now, I'm going to leave it story, but I don't like this image at all, so I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to find a different image or video. In this case, it says you've created an epic video that is binge-worthy and would benefit a broad audience. So for that, I'm going to actually find something over here that is a little better. I'm going to put this video, let me try one more time. There we go. When you drop a video on the scene, it lets you trim it if you want to. This is a 10-second video. I can just say done and it'll use the whole thing, or I can trim it down by dragging the right or left in or out. So I'm just going to drag it down to 7 seconds. Right down here is where you'll see the in and out. You can move it there. So I'm going to get 7. Done. Okay, now I want to do more than one, so I'm going to grab another one. The next part is, but as long as someone does not click on the video link to watch it, your video message will not get across. So for that, I'm going to use one of these videos. Again, it gives me the chance to trim the video. I'm going to do that. I'm going to trim it down to also about 7 seconds. Done. So now you can see I have 2 videos on the same scene. So I'm going to preview it. I can tell already I probably can't see this text great on some of these images. But let's preview it first, and then I'll show you how we fix that. So it has the video, and then it has the text slide in, and then the next video, and the next text. Like I said, we can't see it great, so we have quite a few different options we can do. Like I said, we can also highlight it, and I do want to highlight this, but in this case, I don't think the highlight will make it so we can see all the text good. But let me show you how to highlight real quick, and then we'll make the text more visible. So I'm going to pick certain words. It says, you may have created an epic video that is binge-worthy and would benefit a broad audience. So let's do Epic Video. And all you have to do is select the words, and then you can click highlight right here, or you can click the highlight button right here. Okay, so now that's highlighted in red. And then I'm also going to take binge-worthy and highlight that as well. Okay, and then on this next one, but as long as someone does not click on the video link to watch it, your video message will not get across. Let's do does not click and will not get across. Okay, so now I've highlighted certain words, and I like that it gives me a little emphasis, but let's really fix the text so we can see it. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to click Edit, and that will actually open up the advanced editor just for this scene. It's very powerful and gives you a lot more options of what you can do with everything. So give it a second to load it. So now you have, on the left, you have different menu options. You have your media, where you can find videos and pictures. You have enhancers, which allows you to have icons and stickers and GIFs and overlays and shapes. You can add more text, and you can pick how you want to add it and what kind. There's actually lots of text with animations. So if I click here, if you hold your mouse over any of these, it'll show you the animation that it does for that particular text. And then you can have your own uploads. If you've uploaded any images, you can grab those to use as well. So I'm going to go back to enhancers, and over here you can click the text, and you can actually make changes to it over here. You can change the words, but you also have the text style. So you can pick the font size, the height, the style, and the alignment. This little lock is really powerful. If you click this lock, right now font will resize. What that means is if I move this box up, if I drag one of the sides, it will actually resize the font or the text to fit that box. So if I want the text smaller, I can do this and it will fit it in this box. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now over here I have the regular text color and the highlight color. You can change those for each scene, for each piece of text. I have the animation. So right now, by line, it fades in from the left, and then the whole thing fades out. Okay, this is the beginning where this text will start on the scene and where it will end. So right now the text comes in right away and stays the whole time. If I wanted the text to wait half a second before showing up, I can move this and do that. Now it'll wait half a second. If you click on the text again, you can see that actually starts at half a second. If you click on the background, you can see the background video starts at 0. So that's good. The other thing you can do is up here on the right, or excuse me, up here on the top, we're on the Edit panel, but you can have a Layers panel where you can move things in the front or behind other things. And we have a really cool button called More Scenes. That's what I'm going to use right now to show you. More Scenes will actually take it and have different ways to show you this text that may work better with this video on this scene. So it can give you an overlay where the background video is darkened out a little bit so the text is more easily read. You can have a gradient shadow or a highlight behind it so it makes it easier to read. You can just have a text box behind it that's semi-transparent, and you can change the amount of transparent. I kind of like this one right here, so I'm going to click this one, and it's just going to change that for me. There we go. Now you still see the video back there, but it makes it a lot easier to read the text without being very distractive, with having a big background to the text. You can see down here the scene is 14 seconds, 14.04. Just to give you an idea of some other things you could do is you could preview the scene here, which we're going to do. You can wait for it to be done with the preview, or you can click Edit Scene if you want to just get right back to editing. Down here, if you want to see each piece of text, right now we're right in the middle. This is a little seek bar. So I want to go to the beginning, and I can see in the beginning of the time of the 14 seconds, it shows this video and this text. I think that looks fine, but on the next one, I don't like how the text, see, so if I move down to after 7 seconds, then we're on the next video and the next text. I don't like how this text has the couple words at the bottom there. So what I want to do is I'm going to change the size of this so that that doesn't happen. And there's a couple ways you can do it. I can change the size of the box just like that. So I like that a lot better. So I'm going to leave that. But I could also come over here to text style and literally just change the size of the font to make it so it didn't wrap over there with just 2 words. I could also bold it, and I could change the alignment. Right now, I kind of like how this looks, so I'm going to go ahead and say save, and that'll take me back to my timeline here of scenes. And now I like the first one, I like the second one, I like how it's set up. Now we're going to go to the next one. Another one that has a little too much text here. I could have fixed this in the previous part, but you can just do it right here as well. So I'm going to split this up. I think I'm going to split this one into 3. And you can split it up however you want. You don't have to use any punctuation. Sometimes I like to do the ellipsis, and sometimes I don't. So I'm going to split it right here. And then I'm going to split it again right here. So now we have 3 separate texts that are will be easier to read. And I can either leave the one image or video, or I can put multiple. You don't have to have one for each piece of text. You can just have one total. So I'm going to find another one here, and let's do this one. I'm going to replace this one by dropping it on top of it. This is 12 seconds. I'm going to say done. Now I don't know if 12 seconds will be long enough for all of those, so I may add one more. Let's preview it and see how it looks. Let's preview it again and see if that looks weird. There we go. So it fit all 3 of those texts in that 12 seconds, which I don't think is enough time to read it. So let's add another one. And there's different ways you can do this. In the advanced editor, you can loop the video, which will allow you to make it longer if you want to. Let's see. I'll go ahead and just say done. So now it's a 24 seconds with 2 different videos. And you can just, if you want, you can also, you can move these around, these videos around. You can just drag them over and replace. So like, say I want to put this one on the top. Done. And then this one on the bottom. This one. Done. So now it's rearranged them. So now let's preview it, see how it looks. So that's much better. I can easily read all the text. It doesn't leave it there extra long or too short. I really like how that is, and the 2 videos is fine. I don't need, like I said, you don't have to have one for each. It'll split it up evenly to make it fit the length of your videos. If you wanted it to be quicker, I could trim either one of these down from 12 seconds down to some other number. It's really completely up to you. But now, I like how this is set up. The only other thing I might do is highlight some words to emphasize. You don't have to highlight in everywhere. Don't over highlight. But the highlight is a very good tool to bring attention to something. Okay, let's go to the next thing. I'm just going to do 1 or 2 more, just giving you an example of how this works. It's very powerful. Right now you can see the whole video is 5 minutes and 51 seconds. If that's too long, you might want to pare it down by cutting scenes out. You can delete a whole scene right here, or you can just remove some of the words and shorten these to make your point in less words. Okay, if it's just, maybe it's a little too wordy. So down here, when your audience searches for a keyword or stumbles onto a list of videos, the only thing that sets your videos apart from the rest is the thumbnail you have created. I like that, but I do want to split it up so it's easier to read. Okay, so now we've got it down to 2, and let's use a different video. This video is 16 seconds. I'm going to leave the whole thing, and I think 16 seconds is long enough to read all of this, so I'm just going to use the one video. Just to give you an example, I'm going to change this to a quote or a question, and then I'll put it back to story. All right, so it changed it so that it has more of a quote look to it. You can give it a heading, which will go up above if you want to. You could say who, and down below you can say the name of who it was. I'm just going to put me, but I'll take it away. But just to give you an example. So now it changed it and it put my name down there under the quote. It's still too long, and you can still split it up on a quote as well. But I'm going to change it back to story. And then I'm going to split it. When your audience searches for keyword symbols onto a list of videos, the only thing that sets your video apart from the rest, first of all, let's go ahead and take my name back out. Let's highlight a couple words to emphasize. Okay, let's preview that and see how it looks. Now, there's certain text styles where it might not show the highlight, such as this. I'm going to preview one more time to make sure. Yep. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to edit. We go into the advanced mode editor that I was telling you about. And we're going to pick the More Scenes button again. Just have it automatically show us different options of ways to do this. We could do it manually, but the More Scenes button is really helpful. So let's see. This time I'm going to use this transparent box. I'm going to say use that one. So the words really pop out now. If you click on that, again, you can edit the text, but you also have the opacity here, and you can lighten that up a little if you want. So it's still visible, so you can still see the video underneath pretty well, but the words still pop and shows our highlight. Again, you can change the animation of the text and the text box itself. So the text box animation is this white box behind here that we have transparency on that wipes in up. We can change that. We can have it bounce in place, which I'll go ahead and do. And then the text right now, line fade in. Just to give you an example, I'm going to have it fade in by word instead of the line. Then we're going to preview it. So the box bounced in, and the words came in one word at a time. It's going to do the next words as well. See how they came in from the left to the right, one word at a time? So let's do character instead. And instead of fading in, let's have the characters bounce in. And then let's change it so that the text doesn't show up right away. Let's give it 1 second before the text shows up. The video in the background, if you click on it, you have lots of options. You can crop it, you can trim it, you can turn loop on or off, you can have the video volume on or off, and you can change the volume of the video and the background music so that if you want, it can fade the background music out while it's playing the video or not. It's totally up to you. Let's preview this one more time, show you the animation of the text, how I changed it. So the text box shows up, and then each character shows up and bounces in at a time. All right, let's go ahead and say save that. All right, let's just do one more, and then we'll move on to show you some more stuff. First of all, over here in the videos, I search for YouTube. You can go to images as well. So it doesn't have to be a video. Let's use this image. We'll just take this first one here. Okay, this is where all important battle of to click or not to click. Let's go ahead and highlight that. is fought and hopefully won by your video. Okay, that looks good. 7 seconds. I think this one is good to go. Let's go ahead and preview it. It says that the text is too long, so it's saying, hey, that might be too long of text for 7 seconds. We can go into editor and change it, or we can split this up. I'm going to preview it first and see how it looks. I think it's fine. I think that's just the right amount of time to read it. I don't think it's going to be a problem. All right, so once you're done doing that to all the scenes you want, again, you could add scenes in between or delete scenes or move scenes up or down. If I want to take this scene right here and move it down one, I can just click this arrow, and it moved it down one, and then there's this one instead. Okay, so you can move them around. That might get your storyline a little out of whack, so it depends on how you did it. But once you're done with all of that, then you can do a preview and export. Again, it's a 5-minute and 56-second video. Let's do a preview and export. This will actually show it with sound. It might be loud, so I will only play it for a second. It does show it in a lower resolution to make it faster because it's doing a lot of work in the background, but when you export it, it's in 1080p and looks amazing. Won't always look perfect in this as it's rendering it, but you can always, what I'm going to do is say edit again, and then I'm going to preview and export again, because every change I make, it's saving in the background and making changes. So now it's had time to do that. Let's preview and export again. You can hear how the sound gets louder or softer because I'm using videos in the background. So let's go back to edit again. So right here, I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to tell it I don't want to hear the video, the music for the actual video in the background. I want to keep ours. So I'm going to tell it, and if you don't want to use it at all, you can just turn the volume off for that video, and then it won't be there at all, and it won't change the background music. So I'm going to say save. The other thing is if you want to change the music, that's going to be over here on your menu over here, and you have music, and there's quite a bit of music to choose from. So there's categories here. Might not want angry for something like this. Maybe inspirational or happy or general. There's a lot of stuff. Let's pick calm. And then you can play each one. I'm going to pick that just for the fun of it. So you just click select, it'll move it up here. Then you can change the volume of it as the background music. I think it was a little loud, so I'm going to move it down to 50. You also want to take into consideration if you have a 5-minute video and the music is 2 minutes, it's gonna loop it. It's gonna start again. Okay, I like that. Again, you have your uploads. If you want to upload your own logos or anything like that, you can add them to any scene. You can add as many images as you want. It actually supports true layers. So just to show you that, I'm going to edit this scene here and add a logo just to show you how that works. This is my logo here for Pierson Portal. So I'm just going to drag it over and drop it. And it's going to say, do you want to replace the background video? No. Do I want to add it behind it? No, I want to add it as a layer so I can see both and move them around individually. So I'm going to say add as a layer. So now it's done that. I'm going to make it smaller. And I'm going to move it up here in the corner. right there. Okay, I can crop it. For this one, I don't need to. It fits perfectly how I want. I can change the image size. If it was a bigger image, you might need to fit it with transparent or with blur. This will put the blur on the sides that you see on some things when they don't fit the frame. You can crop it to screen, which would make it fit the whole thing. But right now, fit with transparent is exactly what I want. And then I also have the option to animate this as well. So you have three options here with an image: how it animates to show up, what it does in the middle, and how it animates to leave the scene. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that just to give you an idea. There's a lot of different animations. So from the top here, you always have none, but you have bounce, and it can bounce in from a certain direction. You have fade, and you have all the directions. You have rotate, you can have it rotate in, just to give you an idea. Okay. You can have it zoom. You can have it slide in. You can have it blur. You can have it flip. You can have it wipe. And then you have a couple others. You have light speed in from left and right, and roll in. Okay, so just to give you an example, on this one I'm going to have it flip in, and then while it's sitting there, I'm going to have it pan left. I wouldn't usually have this pan, but I'm just giving you an example how they all work. And then when it leaves the scene, I want it to leave the scene by fading up. All right, I'm going to give it a second, and I'm going to say preview just so you can see how that animation works. So it flipped in. It's moving to the left a little as you see it slowly panning over. And it'll pan over to the left as long as it needs to for the duration of the item. So I could click on it and change it. So I could say, you know what, I want it to fade out at 10 seconds, and I want it to flip in at 2 seconds. Now let's preview again. So the logo won't be there at all for the first 2 seconds. Not there. Now it is flipped in, and it's panning to the left, and then it faded out to the up. Faded out up. All right. Go back to edit scene. I'm going to say save. Now you'll see that our logo is on that scene. There's ways to make the logo be on every scene without having to go edit it for each one, which I'll show you on the advanced editor that I'm going to show you. So that's basically what I wanted to show you for the storyboard editor. It's really powerful. You can give it a link and it'll grab text and pictures for you, and then you just make the edits how you want. You can add as much media as you want over here. You can add voiceovers, and you can add text to speech as well if you want it to say the words. And I'll show you that on the next part as well. So for now, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to say create. It's saved that. If I go to my projects, it will have that saved now, and I can go back and edit it anytime. I don't have to click a save button. It's always saving everything you do. So now I'm going to go into the ready-made templates. There's quite a few templates. They're really cool. They recently added intros and outros as an option, which is awesome. So again, if you hold your mouse over any of these, see this is more of an Instagram style story one. It'll play a preview of it. Here's one of the intros and outros. Let's see, for this example, I'm going to use, there's real estate ones, there's all sorts of ones, and you can just make these your own by editing them. Let's do, let's see. First of all, you can tell it what kind of video. I want to use a horizontal one that is more of a video ad. Here we go. I like this one for reviews. This is great for products. But let's go ahead and use this one. Start with this template. Alright, so immediately you're in the advanced editor. It's not the script conversion editor or the storyboard editor. You're in the full editor. This is my favorite place to work, where I have the most options. The scenes, instead of being top to bottom, they're down here in the bottom and go left and right. So right now this is a one scene video. It has a box here for a logo. If you use the logo one, it'll show up on all of them. Or you could get rid of that and just add an image yourself, and then that would be per scene. Okay, so I'm going to do that this time. I'm going to delete this logo, and I'm going to immediately go to my uploads, and I'm going to go grab my logo. And there's different, I'm just going to show you my logo again, but you can do many. Again, I'm going to add this as a layer. I don't want to replace what's already there. I don't want to add it behind, so I'm going to add it as a layer. It gives me full control over what I want to do with it. I'm going to move it up here where it was. I'm going to have it on a little bit on the edge there so it kind of pops like that. I can blur it if I want to. Again, I can resize. I can use filters. It's got a lot of built-in filters, which is nice. It's definitely not as big a deal for logos, but on a lot of the images, it's nice to have the filters. And then I have the animation for the logo. The only thing I'm going to do with the logo this time is I'm going to have it fade into place, again, about a second after. And I'm just going to have it stay the rest of the time. Now this image right here, I'm going to replace this image with one of my own, with something I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to Media, Images, and we're going to say that we're going to make a review video for a restaurant. Okay, so I'm going to look for, let's just put restaurant. So we've got lots of images for restaurant. I'm going to find something that's inside with tables, maybe something with food on it. I've actually used this to take images directly off of Facebook of actual reviews that people left for a business, and I put the picture they took while they were there here, and then I took their Facebook profile picture and put it here and changed their name. So that's one way you can do it, but if you find an image you like, you can just drag it over, or you can upload it. I'm going to replace this one. I don't want to add it as a layer. I actually do want to replace that image, so I'm going to click Replace. So it replaced it with this image, and then I can change the text here by clicking on it to whatever I want. I'm going to say Asian seafood restaurant. Usually would actually use the name of the restaurant, but I'm just giving you an example. So see how it doesn't fit here? Under text style, the size is locked. I'm going to unlock that, and then it will resize the text to fit this box. So I'm just going to move the box a little bit and bring it up, and it resizes it to fix the box. So I like that better. If I want to put it down, I can press enter and do it myself as well. You can do a hard enter here, but I don't want to do it. I like it on one line, so I'm going to leave it like that. The font is fine, but you can change the font, and there's quite a few. I'll click on it so you can get an idea. So right here, you've got just a lot of fonts to pick from. Just going to scroll down to like the E's or F's, and then I'll move on. But you get an idea. There's quite a few. The other things you can do is you've always got the font colors. So right now this font is just a white color, and you've got the animation, what you want to change, the text box or the actual font itself. So right now it's fading in, the whole thing is fading in, and then that's it. Same with this text. I can change it however I want to. Right now it's coming in, blurring in by character. And here's an image, a 4-star image. If I don't, maybe I want 5 stars. So I can come over here and say 5 stars. So there's lots of different images you could find that might fit that search. You can also do ratings. There's a lot of different things you can search for to find it. You can also upload your own. You can always upload your own as well. I'm going to do, let's see if there's anything in the review. The word review. Let's look at this one. I don't really like that one. It's really up to you what you want to do and how you want to find it. There's quite a few. If you keep searching through here, you'll find more there's quite a few images and videos available to use. I kind of like this one. So I'm going to drag this over here. I'm going to replace this image. I didn't get it right on top there, so I'm just going to delete that one and resize this one and put it there. It's got it will automatically connect where you want. So if I want to center it with this text, I can move it over and see that there. That line tells me it's centered. If I want to have it to the left, it'll snap over there. So now it's snapped to the left. Let's see. Some of the other cool things you can do. See how this, I'm going to click somewhere else so it takes the selection off. I kind of want a border around this image. It doesn't give me the option to just add a border right here, but we have a lot of enhancers over here, including shapes. So I can actually grab a shape. I'll use a rectangle. And there's a lot of shapes, but I'm just going to grab a rectangle. If you click on it, it'll add it to the scene. And then I'm going to actually put it right here. And you see how it's in front of it? I'm going to go over here to Layers. And I'm going to tell I want this element to be behind the other one. Oh, down here, sorry. Okay, now I can resize this and give a little black border. And I'm going to click off of it so we can see it. Okay, it's not perfect, so now I can click on this image and center it in there. If it's snapping to something you don't want it to because there's too many things there, you can hold Control and then move it freely. And now I let go. Oops. Right. Okay, so there, now it's centered in there and I have a border. So let's preview this and see how it looks, and then I'll show you some more. But let's preview this scene. Okay. Now, if we want to preview it with sound, we go up here to Preview and Export. And it shows you how things come into the scene. That text faded in, the images flew in, my logo showed up after 1 second, and you can hear how it sounds with the music. Again, everything is on a layer, so if you want to move anything in front or behind anything, you can do that, which is really, really helpful. If you wanted to add voiceover, you could do that right here. If you want to see a grid to make it easier to move things where you want to make sure things are lined up properly, you can turn the grid on and off here. If you want the scene to last a different length, so I want the scene to last for 12 seconds, you can literally just type 12 and press enter, and it will retime everything for you. You don't have to go and fix anything. It's just now it's 12 seconds. The animations still take place when they should. If we click on this logo, instead of 1 second, it shows up at 1.2 because it did the math for us to make it show up at the right time. You can go ahead and change all that if you want to, but it does it really well for you. You also have lots of stickers and icons. So just to give you an example, I'll pick finance. So you've got lots of different, some of them are going to be animated, some of them are just going to be plain icons. So you have lots of different options. You can search as well. You don't have to just take what it shows you right here. So I think this is where I can find some more of the stars. Yep, so here's the stars. So if I didn't want to use this one, I could use the 5-star version where we had the 4-star version. You have overlays. So let's add an overlay. Just for, I'm going to show you a firework one just for the heck of it. If you click on the overlay, by default in this editor, in the advanced editor, an overlay will cover the entire scene, but you don't have to leave it that way. You can actually change the size of the overlay and move it where you want. Layers work fine. So I'm going to have it just do a fireworks right here over the food, maybe right in the middle. So there, now I'm centered in the middle of the picture, both lengthwise and top down. It's perfectly centered. So let's preview it with that so you can see what it looks like. And actually, let's have that firework not start for about 1.5 seconds. And now we will preview it. So it does everything, and then about 1.5 seconds in, it starts doing the fireworks. By default, these kind of GIFs or animations will loop, but you can also turn that off as well. So I'm going to go back to Edit Scene. I've still got, or no, I'm sorry, with the overlay you can't turn the animation, you can't loop, tell it not to loop. With GIFs you can, but with the overlays you cannot, but you can change the opacity of it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to change the opacity down to about 75%, so it's not quite as obvious. And then I'm going to come over here and show you a couple more things. Back to the text. Say I don't like the way this text is, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it, and I'm going to add new text. You can just add an H1 or H2 or B1, which helps with SEO on videos. It kind of gives the idea of one is a headline, a subheadline, but you can also add ready-made animated text as well. So down here, I'm just going to go through here and see if there's one I like for this. You can use highlighting, just as I did before. I'll show you that one more time. I don't want a headline. I'm going to use one of these body texts. Yeah. I like this one. So I'm just going to click it once and it'll add it to the scene. So it's right here. I'm going to go ahead and resize it. It automatically resized that text. That's because this little lock is unlocked. I'm going to move the text up here where I want it. Again, it automatically fits it. I'm going to take this one away. So I deleted this image. I'm going to delete this shape as well. And I'm going to go back up here to enhancers, stickers. I'm going to search for the stars or ratings. Let's do stars. I'm going to grab the 5-star one. I'm going to move it down here. I automatically snap there. Now I'm going to resize it. And I'm going to move it down. Okay, I like that. This text, obviously I want it to say something else, so I'm going to click here. I'm just going to put, we have a place here nearby that's called Bali's Asian Bistro. Okay. This image right here, I'm going to go ahead and leave this. I kind of like it being right there. And this text, I kind of want the text to be centered instead. So I'm going to, there we go. So the text box is centered with the image, but the text itself, I still need to go to text style and tell it I want the alignment to be centered. Okay, so now it's centered with the box. I'm going to resize it a little bit. There. And then the line under it, it's kind of hard to grab when this text is above it, so I'm going to go to layers, and I'm going to find that line. Let's see. I think it's going to be one of these. If you click on it, it'll highlight, it'll put the little selection box around it so you'll know which one you're on. There it is. Okay, so it's called Element 1. You can lock any layers you want so that they don't move and don't change as far as going in front or behind. You can leave them where they are. So if you have something how you like it, you can lock those in place. But this one, I'm going to go ahead, now that I have this selected, I'm going to change it so that it is the length of the name. And then you just click anywhere else. And there we go. I like the way that looks a lot better. I feel good about this. Let's see what this is doing as far as an animation. You click back on Edit to be able to change anything about an element. So here on the animation for these stars, it fades in and then fades out. It fades in right away. I'm going to tell it to wait and to fade out a little early. I don't want it to go all the way. And instead of fading in, I'm going to have it zoom in from, let's have it slide in from the left. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now I feel like I've got this scene pretty much where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually duplicate this scene. So now I've duplicated the scene, and I can edit this one, and I can change the image, the name, the picture, and the words for another review, so I can have multiple. I usually do 3 or 4 in one video, which I'll show you one that I made in just a minute here. But now let's preview and export so we can see what it looks like with my changes. So the first scene was 12 seconds, so it's going to give people time to read the words, and then it will transition to the next one. In this case, it's exactly the same, but it doesn't have to be. We would usually change it. The transition in between, you can control right here. Right now it's sliding right, but you have a lot of options for what you want it to do. If you hold your mouse over it, it'll give you a preview of what that transition will look like. I'm going to use a... Let's do a wipe right. And I'm going to preview and export one more time just to kind of see what that looks like. Make sure that's the kind of transition I want to use. Now it's going to wipe to the right. Okay, so it kind of wiped to the right and then does all the stuff again. Alright, the other options and other things that you can do is, again, you can change the music. You can use your own uploads, upload anything you want. You can use their videos and images as well. They've got a lot of good choices. Over here, you've got some really cool options over here as well. One is the project colors. So right now, all the colors that you see are based off of this branding here. But I can also say, you know what, I have a brand that I like to use, this red and blue. You can apply, and it'll actually just change everything for you. So now the text is black instead of white. Each one of these stands for a different thing. There's 4 main parts to it. But you can see that now it's switched to the red and the blue here and the black text. If I want, I can go to custom, and I can say, you know what, I want the red to be green. I want the blue to be purplish, purple. And I want the text to be bright red. I probably wouldn't usually do this, but I'm just giving you an example of how you can change the colors. It's really, really an easy way to do it. I love that. This image up here, again, I would maybe think about adding a shape and giving it a border. Any color, whatever color you want of a border. And it doesn't have to be square. You can do round, you know, if you have a PNG, you can do a round border behind it with a shape. With the text, this text is kind of hard to read with the red, but it would be a little easier to read if it had a shadow. You can actually just control copy. You can copy and paste any element you want. So this text, I'm going to do Control C. It tells me down here it was copied to the clipboard. I'm going to do Control V. So now I have 2 of them. So I'm going to click the one behind, and I'm going to tell it I want this text to be black. And then I'm going to click the one in front again. I'm going to use Control so that I have fine tuning where I can move it however much I want. And I'm going to move just up a little and to the left a little. Really, you can do this as much or as little as you want. I'm just doing it I'm just going to try to do it enough just to get the little shadow effect. Just like that. These aren't the colors I would generally use, but I'm just giving you examples of how you can do it. It's very powerful. If you do have an item and you want it to be behind, you can use these buttons here to go back and forward. Or, like I said, you can use the Layers panel and drag it wherever you want. You have an undo and a redo button, and a delete button for deleting anything. Let's see. The only other thing that I really want to show you and make sure you see would be... Here's the voiceover. So you can add automated voiceover. You can record your own, you can upload, or you can find one from the uploads. Automatic voiceover is speech to text. So if you click on that, it lets you know that this is a new feature that is free for everybody right now, but will usually only be in the enterprise plan. Over here, you can actually put your text. So I can put, this hotel has been one of mine. You can also copy the text, but I'm just going to show you this real quick from the last 8 odd years. I'm just going to do that much. You can do the whole thing. You can select the language and you can select the voice. So I'm going to see what this voice sounds like.
Hello, hope you are having a great time making my video.
Hello, hope you are having a great time making your video.
Hope you are having a great time making your video. Hope you are having a great time making your video.
Let's use Kendra. So now I've got what I want. I'm going to say generate. I can check it.
This hotel has been one of my favorites from the last 8 odd years.
And then I can, if I like it, I can edit it up here still, but if I like it, I can say add voiceover to scene. So now that it's here, I can see that where it is, how long it takes, where it starts and stops. I can change the voiceover volume, so it's going to lower the background music. I'm going to lower it down to 5% and have the voiceover about 95. And then you can have it fade in and fade out as well. I'm going to apply that. And let's do a preview export. Remember the shadow on the text I only did on the second scene. So we'll see that on that one. There's the white.
My favorites from the last 8 odd years.
And you can hear the voiceover. It's not perfect in the preview. It's doing it all based on your edits and stuff, but when you export the video, it's perfect. So I'm going to actually go ahead and click export video on this just to show you how that works. So it takes you to your projects where it's exporting the video right here. It's processing it. It goes pretty quick. While it's doing that, I can show you one or two of the other ones that I've made. I'm actually going to open them from a folder here to show you. So one of those review ones, the one for, I'll show you the one that I made for Dabali's. Let me find it here real quick. Here we go. I know you can't see it. I'm moving it over momentarily. Alright, so here's one that I used that same exact template for. And you can see how I've done it. So that's the actual pictures that they took while they were at the restaurant. That's Dabali's logo on the top left. And this is the actual picture of the person who visited and their name from Facebook. So they can see their actual themselves and they'll want to share it. So that's just one example. Now I'll show you one more real quick. You can see this is still processing. It's 20%, so probably take another minute or two. While that's going, let me show you. Here's another one. You can see the animations and the slides. Here you can see the text come in one character at a time and animate. And now we're 77% done, so very close. While that's going, I'll show you one more. Here's one I made for a local realtor. So because it's so easy to control when each of these texts show up, you can have it be in a nice, it can go in a nice timeline where it shows this first, then this. So you can have it go in order. This map is just a little GIF that I added there with the video of the cat in the background. It's a very simple and intuitive video builder. So we're at 80%. I'm going to let it finish, so I want to show you one more. While we're here, you can see that you can rename the projects. You can edit them again. You can duplicate the project. I'll show you a intro outro. So that's something you'd make to put at the end of your videos, sometimes at the beginning. But you can see that this is done now. So I can do anything. I can play it, which I'm going to do, but I'm also going to click download. So we can see it's 5.7 megs. I'm going to click on it to play it. Again, I don't love these colors, but just to give you an example.
This hotel has been one of my favorites from the last 8 odd years.
All right. So there's a lot more I could show you about InVideo, but I think that gives you a really good idea of how the software works, if it's something that would work good for you. I definitely suggest you go out and get it. I'll leave a link in the description down below to go get it. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'd be happy to answer them. And if you do get it, I definitely suggest you join the Facebook community over here. There's a lot of people who are happy to help out, and the devs, the developers, and the CEO are super engaged and responsive in that forum. So if there's features you want, they're happy to talk about it. I've asked for many features that they've added already. The layer support was one that we asked for, and they gave us quickly, which made my life way easier to move things in front of and behind each other. But yeah, InVideo, it's replaced pretty much 5 to 10 other video softwares I used to use, and I rarely use any of them anymore. So go out and get it. It's definitely worth it. Thanks for listening and watching. See you next time.